Hello everybody and welcome back to another speed build here on my channel. Today we are remodeling the Fountainview penthouse in the world that came with the City Living Pack. This luxury penthouse remodel is a 1-bed, 1-bath with a greenhouse and 2 different rooftop balconies. When you first step into the actual apartment, you see this massive open concept floor plan with hardly any furniture or love really put into this whole entire build. It has so much potential with the tall walls, the large floor plan, and also the brick walls. And also this kitchen is so big, it can be so much more inviting, but it's not honestly too bad. It's a great start to work with. This bathroom, on the other hand, is way too big, way too tall, and just a typical EA design and style. I want it to feel more like a luxury bathroom and less hodgepodgey. On the balcony next to the kitchen, there is so much potential for an outside kitchen with seating overlooking the entire city below. And there's definitely plenty of space up here for seating for all of your family and all of your friends if you ever had a party, if this was real life. Coming back inside to the other side of the penthouse, there's this glass sunroom that I wanted to turn into a greenhouse. Outside is also another massive balcony for any other seating or activities or anything you could pretty much think of. First, since I wanted that sunroom to be a greenhouse, I did change the roof to be a glass roof, and I also tried adding some sort of separation and privacy for a bedroom, whether that be a platform and actual walls. I hadn't really decided in that moment. I just knew that I wanted a bedroom with some sort of wall to divide it from the common areas of the apartment to kind of have more privacy. And I also wanted to do the same with the living room. I ended up closing it in to make it its own room, which I think actually turned out pretty good, especially because it is a much larger living room. I'm then going through the house, matching archways, doors, and also windows to each other. And I'm also placing wood throughout the entire living area and tile for the bathroom. Outside, I'm making all the balconies have a darker stained wood in a similar style to the back deck. It's my go-to for anything outside, especially for decks, to be honest. If you've been here, you probably already noticed that. Picking the wall colors I want for each room was just a little bit hard. I wanted both dark and moody, but also I wanted more bright and clean colors for all the walls. It just kind of depended on which room I was working in. I did keep the painted white brick and also the dark neutral brick, but like I said, I adjusted the other wall colors for each room depending on how I felt in that moment, how I wanted that room to feel. This massive bathroom is a great example. I went with a dark blue tile on the walls and I also had lighter floors, but I kept both of those bricks. This bathroom was also a little bit tricky because of the normal older EA builds. The sizing is completely off. You already know how it is. I was trying to figure out the best layout of items, and I also was seeing how much I could fit in here without making it too crowded, but also not too big and empty since it was already massive. That's where the idea of having multiple different cabinets came into play, as well as having the tub and shower combo being its own little separate corner. Sometimes I love furnishing bathrooms if there's only just a couple in a build, but I tend to kind of furnish them all very, very similar. If you've been around in some of my videos, you might have noticed. And in a bathroom this size, clutter is definitely my best friend and can be your best friend from time to time. For me, uncommonly used items in a bathroom help in these massive ones, kind of like a chair, a full-length mirror, and lots of larger paintings. I even did a little bit of plants different. Instead of just doing stand-up plants or plants on the counters, I also had a wall plant. Honestly, just seeing what you like and rearranging to configure the room better can help each room seem like it had a little bit more thought behind it. kitchen, I actually really liked the layout and the amount of cabinets that they had. Like I said before, I feel like I just kind of stuck with it. I just made it a little bit more updated in my mind. I also thought the kitchen was more unique with the wraparound island, or at least for what I normally do. And I'm 90% positive most items stayed in their exact locations that they were before. Like I said, I kind of updated with nicer appliances and cabinets, items that I thought better fit for a luxury penthouse vibe more than just what we had in the beginning. One thing I didn't care much for throughout this entire build was having the largest wall height. I liked how it looked on the outside of the entire penthouse, but on the inside it made for a lot of empty wall space, and sometimes I don't like that. I tried to use taller curtains or even larger paintings, but sometimes they can be put up too high for more realistic, like if you're in first person in the Sibs. It just kind of looks weird from time to time. Putting clutter in my kitchens is one of my favorite things for clutter, or at least one of my favorite rooms for clutter. I use so much CC for the kitchens, and they just always seem to work out good. Coming into the dining section, I wanted a larger table and offered for a larger circular one that I thought looked better, and it also kind of fit and matched the kitchen a little bit more. In this bedroom, I did realize too late that the walls did not touch the ceiling, so keep that in mind when you see the finished photos. I wanted a little bit more privacy like I talked about before for the bedroom, but I also still wanted it open to the main area of the penthouse. That's why I chose for walls with no door instead of a large door or even just an archway. I also had the floor level raised up one higher than the dining room to separate it just a little bit more. And here lately in my builds, I've been enjoying using wall sconces for lights instead of lamps on the end tables. Also throwing a painting in between the lights just feels right for some reason. And somehow this tree that came with City Living fit perfectly inside of one of my builds. I've never used it because my walls are always too short, or I'm never building public buildings, and I feel like this is more of a public building type tree or like planter tree, but somehow it fit in here and I kind of like it in here. I also love these big windows throughout the entire penthouse, but mainly had to stick with Desert Luxe curtains. They always fit so well with any wall height and they look so good, and they're also just easy when you don't know which ones to go with, especially with these larger walls. I wanted this bedroom to not just be a sleeping area since it was so large. I also added a bookcase and some chairs to give it a little bit of a cozy reading area, as well as a full-length mirror with my go-to light behind it and plants above, and of course a record player on top of the dresser. Outside on my favorite balcony next to the kitchen, I knew I wanted this to be an outdoor kitchen and seating area for guests. The Desert Luxe kit came in handy once again. I got to use the outdoor fireplace for the first time in a while, the entire grill items in this kit, and also I had enough room to put a full outdoor table and chairs. In this living room, I wasn't quite sure what exactly I wanted or even how to set it up because of the size of it. I think I made the living room just a little bit too big, and I also think that the end result isn't necessarily bad, but I technically could have sized down multiple rooms like the living room and maybe even the bedroom and the bathroom and made an extra bedroom for this apartment. However, I knew since it was a larger living room that I wanted a massive sectional and also one of the biggest TVs that I had. I also wanted to throw in a desk or some other activity object that took up a lot of space. I added multiple tables table and clutter items to help kind of make it seem more lived in. Then of course, a game console, a piano, a microphone, and a computer for skill building. For this outdoor sun area, I said before how I wanted a greenhouse, and that's exactly what I did. Nothing too crazy, just a bunch of planters. Now, outside on this back balcony, I honestly did not know what to do, what even to try to put out here. I ended up just putting a bunch of solar panels down with a telescope before I placed a little bit more seating, outdoor seating, and of course a basketball goal. I really did not like this back balcony. And now for the inside photos. First room is the elevator and the front door area. I kept it very simple for the normal apartment type objects, like the normal wall mounted trash bin and also mailbox. And then I added some wall lights and just some plants. Very simple out here. Coming through the front door of the penthouse, this is the view that you see when you first walk in. You can see more about the bedroom wall height not touching the ceiling that I mentioned before. I noticed it when I was editing this video before I did this voiceover, so it was a little too late to go back and fix it. And like I said before, I'm kind of sorry about that. But I love this kitchen. For the size of it, I think it's filled pretty nicely between cabinets and also clutter. Here's a nice photo of also that view out the kitchen window at the sink. I had to put that in for some of y'all. And another angle showing looking out into the dining room section. In this bathroom, I feel like there's enough items in here to not make it feel so open and also so bare. I actually really like this chair area next to the shower. And of course, I love all the cabinets that can replace the fact that in real life, if this was your penthouse in real life, there is absolutely no linen closet. So your cabinets are technically your linen closet. And then looking towards the door from the sink, I love the blue wall. I think everything from this angle looks really good. The dining section is very, very simple, but honestly, I think it kind of matches the whole kitchen area very well. And of course, out on the balcony, that outdoor kitchen would be absolutely so cool to have in real life. The parties out here would be so nice, especially having that fireplace at night. I honestly really love this balcony. Going into the bedroom, I really liked how this turned out. The book area with the full-length mirror section is one of my favorite parts for some reason. I don't know if it's because I'm a book person. I also really like looking from this angle at the bed and the dresser. This is one of my overall favorite rooms this entire build. The final room inside the penthouse is the living room. I think the black sectional and the white chair is a good option. Normally I match all my wood tones and also all pieces of the furniture, but every once in a while I kind of change it up. I feel like for my videos here, I've been changing it up more than I have in real life when I actually play the game. I also feel like the wall right around the desk might have a little bit too much clutter compared to the rest of the wall, but it also kind of helps to fill up that wall. That's, like I said, where I struggled with having such large walls. I just felt like there was a lot of empty space to try and cover up. And looking at the back of the couch, I love the archway looking into the dining room table and how the living room looks from this angle. This is one of my favorite views from at least the living room's perspective. And I did also add a guitar next to the piano just to fill up a little bit more of that empty space and add a little bit more skill building items. And of course, just one final photo of the living room. And outside you have, you guessed it, an empty greenhouse. Besides a flower arranging table, there is only empty planters out here. I'm sure it would be very pretty when there are plants in here, besides everything in The Sims pretty much looks the same. And finally, like I said before, my least favorite part of this entire build, this extra balcony. I have no clue why there was so many outdoor balconies. I was struggling for some reason. I do think having this basketball goal is one really good thing that took up a lot of space out here, but then there's this side that has just random extra seating. I just truly didn't know what to do up here. And that's my speed build and luxury remodel of the Fountainview penthouse. After looking at this penthouse, there is so many more ways that I could have remodeled this, but I kind of enjoyed how I set it up, and also I enjoyed a lot of this build when I was physically building it. I'm also really happy with the end result. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Subscribe and stay tuned for any more speed builds here on my channel, and God bless.